Hey, folks, this is Andrew Bennett with insurancethatfits.com. I always like to do the .com because it reminds me of the old yahoo.com commercials. Anyway, so we are going to be talking today about the G Medicare supplement, the HDG Medicare supplement, and the Innovative G Medicare supplement. Basically, if it's a G, we're going to be talking about it today. So this is my slideshow. Let me start it from the beginning. Okay. Me, insurancethatfits.com. There's my phone number, 865-712-5711. I'm licensed in Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia, several other states, but those are where most of my business is, Tennessee, Georgia, and Virginia. And so what we're going to cover today, one, we're going to talk about two words that people use interchangeably that are not interchangeable, deductible versus out-of-pocket maximum. They're different things, so I want to straighten out that concept. Then we're going to use this kind of metaphor of a house, the foundation, the walls, and the roof, to try to help explain the deductible, coinsurance, out-of-pocket maximum, to develop our understanding of that. We're going to talk about what Medicare leaves you to be covered. And then finally, we're going to talk about ways to fill that gap, which are the G, the HDG, and the innovative G. So the deductible and the out-of-pocket maximum. Okay, the deductible is what you pay first. It's the you pay stage of the policy, is how I have historically put it. It's where the paying starts and you start the paying. So in Medicare, you've got two deductibles. You've got this strange Part A and Part B thing going on. The reason we have Parts A and B is literally it's just kind of a historical artifact. Back 70, 80 years ago, whenever it was Medicare started, it was based on the Blue Cross and Blue Shield companies. Back then, they were two separate companies. It wasn't Blue Cross Blue Shield. It was Blue Cross over here, Blue Shield over there. One covered your doctor bills and stuff like that, and the other covered hospitals. So when they created Medicare, they followed that Blue Cross Blue Shield model. Now, since then, all the Blue Cross Blue Shield organizations have come together and merged into one organization, but Medicare still has this A and B weird kind of thing. And there's different deductibles for each one. So the deductible, again, that's where the paying starts. All right. The out of pocket maximum is where the paying stops. Okay. In my ever so humble opinion, the out of pocket maximum is the most important number on the page because in those years when you have something big happen, something bad happen, a car wreck, a cancer, a heart attack, that's where your financial bleeding stops, so to speak, is the out of pocket maximum. Um, as it says down here, the deductible is the door you walk through, the out of pocket maximum is the ceiling you don't go past. So your cost built kind of like a house. The foundation is the deductible. Everything sits on that. You pay it first before coverage starts. Then you have your co-insurance. Okay, your co-insurance, your Part B medical with Medicare, after your deductible, it pays 80/20. That percentage is called co-insurance. So actually, whether you're in Medicare or you're not yet to Medicare, you're in the 64 and under market. If you're in a percentage part of your policy, 70, 30, 80, 20, 50, 50, that's your co-insurance. Okay. With Medicare Part B, after your deductible, your co-insurance is 80/20, which is very, very good. Okay. Then you have your roof of the policy. That's your out of pocket maximum. That's the cap, the financial cap where your costs stop for the year. So this slide goes into what I was saying about Part A and B having different deductibles. Um, Part B is where most of your charges are. This is what it costs to diagnose you, to treat you, to pay the doctors. You pay the first $283 each year. Now that number, all these numbers virtually adjust every year. So this is 2026 numbers, $283. For Part A, The deductible is $1,736. This is for hospitalization or skilled nursing facilities. Um, and most of your supplements cover this, not all of them, but most of them cover it. And if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, it just works entirely different. All this we're talking about right here today is with traditional Medicare. So how much of Part A you pay of that 1736 that you pay really is going to depend on how much you've spent so far on your coinsurance, because you'll have already paid your 283 most likely. You'll already pay some of that 20% coinsurance we talked about. And so depending on which supplement you have will depend on how much or any of that 1736 you have to pay. All right. Okay. Coinsurance, again, I already explained this. This is the 80/20. I guess I got way ahead of my slides, right? Um, so this is your 80/20. So I've got a couple of examples here. 20% of a $500 test is only $100. Um, 20% of a $200,000 surgery is 40%. So with if you just have traditional Medicare A and B and you do not have a Medicare supplement, there is no out-of-pocket maximum. That's why you want to get a supplement to give yourself an out-of-pocket maximum. So that's what the supplement does. The roof, again, this is the most you can pay in a year. Once you touch the roof, your cost stops. It's a ceiling, not a starting point. It's the worst case scenario. You're not going to hit your out of pocket maximum most years unless you have a G supplement, because the G supplement has a teeny little out of pocket maximum. Okay. So the question, like it says there at the bottom, in your worst year, what's the most you could pay? So this is looking at Medicare alone with no supplement. Your foundation, your Part A and B deductible. Okay. You've got 20% coinsurance, but you've got no roof. You've got no out of pocket maximum. So we want to make sure to get you an out of pocket maximum. Okay. So how it all works together. Medicare pays first. When you go to the doctor, when you go to the hospital or doctor bills Medicare. Medicare comes back and says, "Oh, yep, that looks like a legitimate charge, so we're going to pay that." If Medicare pays, your supplement has to pay. Okay, as opposed to an Advantage plan, the Medicare supplement really doesn't have that much leverage because it's only handling 20% of the bill. Medicare Advantage, they're handling the whole bill, but Medicare supplement, they're only handling 20%, so they don't have any leverage. If Medicare pays, the supplement has to pay. It's black and white, it's done. Okay. And you get a known ceiling, a known out of pocket maximum, depending again on if it's a G, HDG, um, the supplements we're looking at today. So worth knowing, Medicare plans are standardized by the federal government. A Plan G is a Plan G at every company. A G from United Healthcare is the same as a G from Physicians Mutual, is the same as a G from Medico, is the same as a G from Humana, the same as a G from Aetna, and on and on and on. A G is a G is a G. I tell people what you're buying, what you're shopping on is really three things. You're shopping on which supplement you want, what that supplement initial cost is, and then what is that company's history of rate increases. Okay. You got to look at all three of those things. The history of rate increases is really, honestly, it's tough to track for me, and I'm an insurance agent. So the roof, the Plan G is the Cadillac supplement. Okay. And the heading of this slide is a roof that sits almost on the floor. So you see here at your foundation, you pay, again, that's the Part B deductible. And everything above that is covered either by Medicare or the Plan G. So if you're hospitalized, the G pays the full deductible for hospitalization. It pays the 20% coinsurance. If you end up after the hospital, you end up in a skilled nursing facility, it pays the coinsurance for that. If you run into some weird doctor that doesn't take Medicare, hasn't agreed to Medicare's price sheet, it can cover Part B excess charges. Sounds horrible. Excess charges are actually extremely rare, and they're capped at 15% of the Medicare allowable rate. Excess charges are just not that big a deal. Okay. So this is the G. Big coverage, the walls and the roof, both covered by the G. So essentially, your out of pocket maximum is $283. That's a tiny amount, but the G is the most expensive supplement. So if you think about insurance, insurance is there to cover you for catastrophic financial loss, to make sure there's not catastrophic financial loss or maybe significant financial loss. Well, $283, it's significant for some people, but it's not significant for most people. So let's go on to the next slide here. The HDG. Okay. So what does that look like? So notice we have, three distinct sections to the house now. We have your Part B deductible, just like the regular G. Now with the HDG, you've got the 80/20 and you're going to pay the 20% for a while. Okay. Once you're 283 and your 20% and any of the Part A deductible, okay, once any combination adds up to 2957, then the HDG kicks in and gives you an out-of-pocket maximum of that 2957. So again, if you think about the purpose of insurance, it's there to protect you from significant or catastrophic financial loss. $3,000 is not catastrophic for most people. It's significant for a lot of folks, but not like overwhelmingly so. And it saves you a lot of monthly premium. So this is the least expensive Medicare supplement, ballpark around $50 a month when you're turning 65. If you're female, even lower than that. Okay. Now, one common misconception. Sometimes people think they pay the first 2,957. No, you pay the first 283. After that, again, Part B covers 80/20. And when that 20% again and the 283 and any Part A deductible, let's write out Part A so you can see how messy my handwriting is. Part A. Woohoo. Once all of that adds up to 2,957, then it kicks in. All right. Erase all that. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, the innovative G. The innovative, got a new tongue today and I still haven't broken it in. The innovative G is just a combination of the HDG and the regular G. So how it works. Let's say you turn 65 in January. Okay, so your first 3 years of the innovative G is going to be HDG coverage. All right. So your coverage here is HDG, and it's on the slide, so I really didn't need to write it, but I did. HDG coverage. And honestly, it's an overpriced HDG the first 3 years. This is a great sales pitch, isn't it? I want you to get an overpriced HDG. Here's the magic. The magic is on the 3rd January, okay, on your 3rd January, it automatically converts to a regular G and it becomes an underpriced regular G for the rest of the time you have it. Okay, starts out as an overpriced HDG, it becomes an underpriced regular G. Now, it's 3 full years if your birthday was in January, but let's say that your birthday is in July. Okay. So your first January then is just 6 months later. So it's really only 2.5 years. If you were born in December and your Medicare starts in December, or you've moved to the plan, later on after you turn 65, you start in December. So now it's just 2 years and 1 month to get to your third January. So this is a way to save money long term as well. Both the HDG and the Innovative G, I really believe, are the two best supplements out there. The regular G is the most expensive and it's the simplest. So that's what a lot of people go with. But as you get older, that rate gets so high. I've run into plenty of people who are in their mid to late 70s and early 80s who are paying really, I'll say between $350 to $500, over $500 a month for their G or their older F supplement. Okay. So the Innovative G and the HDG are a way to mitigate those rate hikes, especially that come later in life. So now, before you choose a high deductible plan, there's a little bit of advice I've got for you. So, one is just to keep in mind what the HDG does is it gives you an out of pocket maximum. So, most years, it does nothing for you. Great sales pitch again, isn't it? Most years, it does nothing for you. Just like your car insurance, just like your homeowner's insurance, most years you're not in a car wreck. And most years your house doesn't burn down. So most years those insurance policies do nothing for you. The HDG gives you a very reasonable out-of-pocket maximum at a very reasonable monthly premium. Okay, that's what it does. Now, the other thing, all these numbers, the deductibles, the premiums, the out-of-pocket max, all these things change every year and they tend to go up. It's very rare that they go down. One other thing I typically suggest for my clients who have the HDG, and my clients who have the HDG who like it long term, what a whole lot of them do is open up a separate checking account, a money market or a separate checking account, and they put $100 a month into it. Or if they've got a lump sum, they'll just drop a lump sum into it. There's nothing magical about this. It's not a tax favored thing or anything like this. But what it is really is it's mental, emotional. Those years when you have a little higher out of pocket cost, when it's coming out of your just regular checking account, oh man, even though it's only up to $3,000, you just hate paying it. When it comes out of a separate checking account, my clients who like the HDG long term are just like, it's just no big deal. So again, it's kind of a psychological thing, but having that separate checking account is something I highly advise. So which one should you go with? So if you've got really strong retirement income, the regular plan G, it's the best seller. It's the easiest to understand. You pay very little out of pocket, but it's the most expensive. Okay. If your budget's a little tighter, but you want to stay with traditional Medicare, because with traditional Medicare, remember, you retain more control of your health care. The HDG is a great option. It's a very low premium coupled with very reasonable out of pocket cost. And then if you like the idea of the G, but you want to hedge against the higher premiums later in life, then the innovative plan G is a great option because you get the G coverage for all but the first 2.5 to 3 years. So again, I think three good options. My personal recommendations for most people, if you can stay with traditional Medicare, is going to be the HDG or the Innovative G. Now, think about this. I'm on commission, right? And with Medicare supplements, it's a percentage. The higher the premium, the more I make. And I'm telling you not to get the most expensive thing. I'm down here telling you to get the least expensive supplement on the page, which is the HDG or the Innovative G. So I'm not telling you this because it puts money in my pocket. The regular G would put more money in my pocket. Here's some notes and sources for all the amounts and terms and stuff that I've given you. So the key thing I want you to take away from this is right now Medicare supplement rates, we're in a period of time where Medicare supplement rates are going up dramatically. The HDG and the Innovative G are ways to mitigate those costs long term. So that's what I want you to think about. Folks, thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.